Okay. So we'll continue with the last class. We have taken up a scenario and then suggested after for ID pass. Okay, we'll start with the in continuation to the last class. We had implemented that scenario with an analytical view, right? Just using an analytical view. Today, let's try to implement the same scenario with an attribute view and analytical view both. So I was using all these joins in an analytical view, right? Straight away all the tables. But I would like to formulate an attribute view for business partner, which is a stronger entity. Another attribute view for product. Another attribute view for sales order details. Then go about using them and formulate the star schema join in the analytical view. Okay. Now let's say create new attribute view. Now this is the name of the attribute view, description, and the type of view is attribute. Now within the attribute view, we'll have subtypes, standard, time, or derived. Let's not worry now. I'm just going with standard. Now when you go to attribute view, you don't have anything like star join. You'll have only foundation and semantics. Same as part of data foundation, you basically list out the tables what you want and then join them. Say for business partner, so I would need these two tables. And I'm going to establish a join again. Then what I need is I just need city, country, and then region. From this I would take the partner ID and the company name so that I can use this partner ID to join it to my sales database. I'm okay with these namings. Yeah, that is it. And then I just all these are referred as attributes. In attribute view, you cannot have a measure because if you look at this view properties, we say data category is dimension which will not allow measures. So in an attribute view, you cannot have measures, it's all attributes. But within attributes, you can specify the key attribute here, which is a main key field for you. I can say partner ID is my key attribute. For now, just activate it, that's it. So let me create one more attribute view for product. Again, standard. So I'll take this products table. If you remember, we also wanted the text and constants also. So let us create the join. From products table, I'll join to the text table to get the name. Since it's got name in multiple languages, I would go with what? Text join, and the language column is language. And one more thing is when I'm trying to join for the product type, I go to join with the domain values to get the description. So first thing is I would like to apply filter on this domain only for those. apply filter where it says product type, and then I'll establish a join from products table. I'm going to join to the constants based on the type code. So it gives me the description of the type, which is again in multiple languages. So I would say text join, and the language column is language. Now start selecting things. I want the product ID category from this, and this description is going to give me product type. Yeah. So in attribute view within the data foundation, I can change the column name. Yeah. It's a product type. Yeah. Then this text would be your product name. Okay. Then these are the columns what I want. Then I would say product ID is my key attribute, the primary key field of it. Then it's active. Okay. Then I would like to get the sales order header details as an attribute view. All your dimensions Z80 SLS order status. Again standard attribute view. Here I would take in the sales sales header, and to get the descriptions I would take the constants over the life cycle status or whatever it is. Now first thing I'm focusing on life cycle status. Apply filter for this. This will be the life cycle domain. One is enough, yeah. I don't want all status. Create join from sales central join to the constants table. From life cycle status to this fixed values, and it's going to have multiple descriptions. I'll say text join. And the language column. From this I need to have sales order ID, and I'll just take this description which will be life cycle. For billing I'll just take the same keys. If you want you can add to the constants. So this is life cycle status. And sales order ID would be the key for it. So I've got all the three attribute views, which are nothing but referred as dimensions. Now create an analytical view which will basically use that. Yeah. ZAN sales using just creating an analytical view now. So first I'll get into the data foundation, take my facts table, so I'll take the item and header both. Yeah. So I'll join it on the sales order ID. For now we're okay with the join. For now we'll go with inner join, so that only the common values are brought in. And then I just want the things to be projected out. Sales order, item, then product. From here I want the partner. I'm joining this header because I need to get the partner ID into this. Then gross amount, net amount, tax amount, and then currency, quantity, and quantity unit. So what are the columns which is projected from my data foundation? Consider this as your fact table. I've got sales order ID, item, product, partner ID, and all this. I'll bring in those attribute views to join to this here in the star schema view. I want business partner, I want the product, I want the sales order status. So I'm going to join this. From partner, I'm going to join to this partner table here, dimension. From product, I would join to this product dimension. And from the sales order, I would join to the sales order dimension. So now if you look at this star join, you get to see the star schema view, and this could be any join here. You can say referential join, inner join, text join, whatever it is. I'm going with referential, but I can still go with inner also. Yeah, no issues. For now, we'll just see inner, then we'll change. Okay. Now here you can see the columns folder, you see the columns from the data foundation. In the attribute views, you see the attribute views which is brought in, and when you expand each of this, you get to see the columns which is coming from each of this attribute view. Yeah. Then go to semantics. Here you see in the local, you see the columns from the data foundation of analytical view, and in the shade, you see the columns from your attribute views. So if I need to assign this, what I need to in the data foundation properties, specify the central entity, which is your item table from where the measures are referred. So measures can be referred only from single table, which is considered as central entity. Now you go here and say auto assign. I'm okay with all this, and then say activate. So this is my view, and I can start doing reporting on this one. I'll use analysis for Excel, and then this is my correction. I get to see the packages, 9 cubics, and then models. This is the one, yeah. So I take the company name wise. I would like to see company name wise totals. Say new. Let's keep this. So we've got two sheets here. Sheet 1 is the output from view 1. In sheet 2, I take the output from the yesterday's view. Take the company name. If you see this 7 and pretty much it's the same output was. So either I use the attribute views and design my view, or straight away use all the tables into analytical view and design my view. I'm able to get the same values. There's no difference in the value in the output. Yeah.
Sir, had a concern here.
Yeah.
Why did we put the filter on the billing status and delivery status as that of life cycle status?
I thought it's the same join. I didn't want to waste time. Yeah. That's all. Otherwise, nothing.
Okay.
Because it's the same process. Again, you bring in the constant table and then join that, right? So I didn't want to waste time. So.
No, I wondered if there must be some reason. That's okay.
No. I was just reducing the work. That's it.
Oh,
See, now you understand, like whatever I could achieve the reporting yesterday, even now I'm able to achieve, even by using attribute views also, we can achieve the same things. Okay. Now we need to understand the difference now. If I use attribute views, what is the advantage? Now if I don't use, what is the disadvantage you get now? Look at this. First thing, say, now I've created this attribute. See, this was the analytical view which was created directly, and this is the analytical view which was created by using this attribute views. Now, first thing is, now once this attribute view is created, can I use this in n number of analytical views? Let's say I create one more analytical view, I can still use this. So once attribute view is created, it can be reused in n number of analytical views. So first benefit of the case 2 is you have the reusability of the joins. So what are the joint definition I've done in this attribute view? When I use this attribute view into analytical view, I'm able to reuse this particular definition of this view again and again. That is the advantage you get when I use this attribute view. Okay, first advantage. The next one is, as we discussed yesterday, in analytical view, I cannot create hierarchies at all. See, there's nothing like create button. We cannot create anything. But when, let's say, I would like to have a hierarchy display now. Let's say I would like to enable it for hierarchies. I would like to have region. Under region, I would like to see country. Under city, under country, I would like to see cities here, which is more like an hierarchy bus. If you see this, so I would like to have an hierarchy something like this. Yeah. First, I would like to see region. Then under this region, I would like to see country. Under this country, I would like to see city. Okay. So if you see, can I say this is like level 1, this is level 2, level 3 of an hierarchy bus. Now for each level, I have one column representing this. I have a column called region. All the values of this region column should be under level 1. And I've got another attribute called country. All the values of this attribute country should be at level 2. I've got attribute called city. All the values of this attribute city should be at level 3. That is what I wanted. Yeah. So we call that as level based hierarchy. And see how we'll get into detail later, but just see how do we create. In the attribute view, just get to hierarchies. You see this button, create. Let's say create hierarchy. So you'll say cust something hierarchy something. Here you'll have two types of hierarchies you can create. One is level hierarchy and parent child hierarchy. Now whatever I was explaining you here, when you have multiple attributes, okay, and when the values of this attribute represent one column, then we call that one level, we call this level based hierarchy. Say for example, I have region, I have country, and I have city. The region will have some values like Europe, Asia, Pacific, all those. All the values of this attribute region will formulate one level. All the values of this attribute country will formulate level 2. All the values of this column city will formulate level 3. So when you have each attribute forming a separate level in a hierarchy, we call that as level based hierarchy. Okay. So I have something like this now. Next one, I've got employee and I've got manager. So I've got E1. For this manager is M1. So manager M1 is also an employee for me, and he will have another manager, say something like E2. Now if you look at this node, M1 is playing at level 1 as well as in level 2 also. This is called as parent-child hierarchy. When the value of one column plays in multiple node levels, like as a parent and as well as child, we call that as level parent-child hierarchy. Say for example, I have an attribute, say employee. The values of this attribute employee can be playing in any of this column, any of these levels, level 1 or level 2, or as a parent or as a child sometimes. That is called as parent-child hierarchy. But If you look at this, I'm going with level based hierarchy. It'll ask me all the levels. First level I want it as region. Next level I want it as country. Next level I want it as city, and the city I would like to see partner IDs. That is it. And you have another small options like for advanced. Do you would like to have root node? Yes, I want root node. Like root node is all. You'll have all node at the top, which will give you the root node. And multiple parent instances. Let's say, for example, you have two children. Let's say there's a child having multiple parents. For example, um, now if we take some district as Nalagonda. Previous transactions that would be under as AP. The current transactions it will be as parent as Telangana was. So now one child can have multiple parent. You won't allow it. Say I'll say allow multiple parents for a child, and you want root node is there's something like orphan node. Say for example, if you look at in PW when you have an hierarchy, if there is some node which does not belong to either of these nodes, it shows under root node. Same way, all the orphan nodes you want it as under root node or step parent. When I say step parent, you can say anything which does not have parent should be shown under AP or something. You can say like that. For me, it's okay. We'll come to that here. That's fine. And say activators. Just to make sure whether this is being reflected here, go to analytical view now. If I go to analytical view, please mute yourself first. If you go to analytical view, you will start seeing the hierarchy here. Since I'm using this attribute view Z80BP001 here, the hierarchies what is created in that will be accessible in this analytical view. Just activate it. See, now I'm trying to redeploy this. Okay. Now to, I don't know whether it will get refreshed or not. If I go to partner ID, no, I think I'll have to say. Just to refresh, I'm logging out. And if I get here, now when I expand this partner ID, not getting refreshed. Let me do one thing. So now if I expand this partner ID, I see something called flat presentation and hierarchy also. When I bring in this hierarchy, you start seeing a root node as all. And when I expand this, you see regions. When I expand the region, I see countries. When I expand country, I see this partner ID. So I'm able to access this hierarchy in this analysis for Excel. Very important thing. Whatever the hierarchies you create in HANA can only be consumed by tools which gets connected to HANA through MDX interface. It doesn't mean that these hierarchies can be used in WebB report. No. When you create a universe on this view, it uses SQL interface. So these hierarchies will not be available. You have to again recreate the hierarchies in universe with navigation paths and then use it. And what are the hierarchies you create in HANA can only be used by your reporting tools which gets connects with MDX interface. So I can use these hierarchies in Design Studio straight away on these views, or in your analysis for Excel, I can use these hierarchies straight away. Yeah. So this is another advantage of using attribute views into the design here. So did you understand the difference? Any doubts still here? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So important. So whenever you have to join the attribute views to analytical view, if you focus here, what I've done in this analytical view, see my fact was only the item level table, but I took the header table because I need to get the partner ID. If I don't have partner ID, I cannot join to this partner dimension. So you should make sure you need to have a common field in the attribute view and your data foundation to join to formulate your star schema view. Otherwise, no. Yeah. Next. Yeah.
Sir, when we use this
Sorry.
BI for
Can you be
analysis,
louder, please?
yeah, when we use this BI for analysis,
Mm-hmm.
we have created one connection, right? So, I mean, can you please explain that connection once?
That is actually an HTTP connection. Yeah. I think you have to log out. Actually, this is the latest analysis for Excel. So here we go with HTTP connection.
Okay.
Select data source. So I just right click, say create new SAP HANA connection. Yeah. And then it will ask you for the host name and the port. Port will be 80 and then the instance number. Yeah. And this will be your host name, a server name. Yeah.
Okay, then, okay. And then we have to, once we create this, how does we bring that content from
Yeah.
there
Once you have
to
connection,
HANA?
just select this connection and say next. It will ask you for the HANA login because you're connecting to HANA system, right? Then it starts showing you all the packages as folders.
Under that system.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Under that connection, you get to see the
What about
package and the folders and the views. Yeah.
so? Okay, this is not. I mean, as it is latest version, so we are using HTTP connection.
Yeah.
And if I remember, yesterday you were saying something about ODBC connection. What is that all about? It is
We,
same as this, or we have to do it in a different way, is it?
then you have to create a connection in CMC and then use that connection. If I say back, see,
Okay.
I see other system connections here. Say for example, I see the SAP BW, all these connections also. You have to create OLAP connections and then use those connections here. Yeah. In CMC, you'll have to create a connection, then use it. Yeah.
Okay. And one more thing, sir.
Yeah.
Once we create our analytical view or attribute view,
Hmm.
until unless we say that save and activate, it will not be ready for
Yeah.
I mean ready for consumption of the view or report. Is it
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is just like a structure where you do not have any kind of privilege to use it.
Yeah. Until unless you activate, you cannot use it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And one more point is you're saying for reporting, right? We cannot use attribute views for reporting. We cannot do reporting on attribute views. Not possible.
Only in
Only
analytical view
analytical
and
view,
calculation view.
calculation view. Even calculation view, not all will come to that, but we can do reporting on calculation view and analytical view. Yeah. Not
Okay.
attribute view. Yeah.
But
Sir,
now,
Yeah.
we have used attribute view
No, we have
to
not done reporting on attribute view. I've used attribute view into analytical view, and then I'm doing reporting on analytical view. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Now I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
sir, could you please once again discuss the properties of hierarchy, that is root node, about all root and all those
Yeah,
stuff?
I'll come in detail, but I was just
Oh,
taking you
okay.
through the screen that we can do this modeling straight away with analytical view or even by using attribute
Okay, we will
views.
take this up later. We will take this up later.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go with each property
Okay,
one by
okay.
one again. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay then.
Just this was just to show you the importance of attribute. Let's say given a chance, can you still do modeling with analytical view straight away? Yes. Can I still create attribute views and leverage those attributes in analytical view? If given these two
Okay, good.
opportunities, which one would you choose? Now say if I want to leverage hierarchies, I have to go with attribute view and use it in analytical view. And if
Okay.
I feel that this attribute view logic joins are reused in multiple views, I still go with attribute view only and then use it. So once attribute view is created, I can reuse in n number of analytical views. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay.
So
Sir,
that means if, sir, if that means there is no reusability that we are going to use those views in future, so we can directly go and create analytical view.
Exactly. Because if you formulate your joins in analytical view, if I want the same joins again in another analytical view, I can't do that, right? So I'll create as an attribute view. Once I formulate joins in attribute view, same thing I can reuse in n number of views again. Yeah.
so if you are changing the attribute view in future,
Yeah.
do we need to reactivate these analytic views, all the analytic views that are dependent on this
Yeah,
attribute?
yeah. If I change my attribute view, you must reactivate the views which are using those. Yeah.
Performance wise both approaches
Sorry, voice is low.
give the so performance wise both approaches will give the same performance
Um,
if you
yeah. See, that will not make any difference because the very important good point you have raised. See, this is an interview question. They'll say you have attribute view. Okay. When you try to see the content of this attribute view, which engine is used? Join engine bus. Okay. Let's say you have analytical view. If I try to see the data on the analytical view, it does use something called overlap engine. Okay. Now the question is, I have attribute views and I've used them along with analytical views, right? Now which engine will it use? Got the question? If I have plain attribute view and you try to see the data, it does leverages join engine in the backend. If you have analytical view and it does use overlap engine, say now I have some joins which are formulated in the attribute view and then I've used that attribute view into analytical view. Now which engine will it use? Will it use a combination of these engines or will it use overlap engine? That's the point.
Overlap engine.
only overlap engine.
Only
Only overlap.
exactly.
Yes,
Only
yes,
overlap
yes.
engine. Yeah. So if this is a case, so what happens when you do this way, all the joint definitions what you have done in the attribute view will be inserted into the analytical view, and all those will get executed by OLAP engine only. So either you perform all the joins within the analytical view, it uses OLAP engine. Either you create attribute views and include them into analytical views, it does still leverages the OLAP engine only. So if it has been executed with the same engine, so do you see any difference now? Yeah. It should give you same output and same performance, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's what. So only thing is you'll have reusability and usage of hierarchies. That's the main thing. Yeah.
Sir, do you have concept of attribute change run, just like what we have in BI?
No,
So
no,
instead of recompiling
no,
all at
no, no.
so see that is attribute is reusable component, right? So even me or any other people will be using it in analytical views. So every time, even though if there is any small change in attribute view, so it should be recompiled in 10 to 20 objects.
Yeah. See.
Right, sir?
One second. When you go to the default views, you'll have a block called values list. Yeah. When I double click on this attribute view, here it shows me the list of analytical views where this has been used. Yeah. Look at this here. When I'm seeing this definition of attribute, you'll have another block view called values list. This will tell me in which all analytical views this attribute view has been used up. So when I do a change in this, you must make sure you reflect changes to this view, these two views also. So you need to do an impact analysis whether if I'm doing change on this, what all views have to be. It does not reflect automatically. Yeah. That's what your question, right?
Sir?
Someone is
Yes, sir.
someone is asking me navigation attribute concept. No, because see, here every attribute is like a normal attribute bus. There's nothing like navigation because if you look at the reporting here, say if I say insert some data source, sorry. Insert this. If I either it's city or Potter ID or city, what anything has got individual drill down. Okay, I can drill down on city, I can drill down on company name, anything. So it does not make any difference between the key attribute or other attributes. Everything is an attribute. So you don't have to worry about navigational attribute or what it is here. Okay. So whether it's every attribute, whether it is a key attribute or not, you can have individual drill down on it. Yeah. 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 Next question. Yeah.
Sir, when an attribute view is so when an attribute view is used in an analytical view,
Yeah.
and in that case, if we come up with a change in attribute view,
Yeah.
so it will be reflected in analytical view, right?
It will reflect, but it has to be reactivated to reflect those changes. Yeah.
That's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, if an attribute view cannot be used in...
One second. I'll just finish up this, so I'll show you one point. See, this is showing as inactive. That's why it does not reflect in changes. Now, what I'll do, I'll go to APP and try to include a new field. Let's say I want to see the street also. So I got a street and let me activate this. Now this view has been activated, but when I see these are been used in that, right? So I'll open this one. You see the new column coming in a street here. That will be shared. You get the street here. Only thing is to reflect, I'll have to reactivate this. and even the other one.
It will be seen, the entry will be seen, but
Yeah.
it won't work out until and unless we activate it.
Exactly. Yeah. See, you have inactive version of this does not really want active. Just reactivate this. Then it reflects those changes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What are the other questions? Yeah.
Sir, if an attribute view cannot be used for reporting, what is the purpose behind doing that? Like, why would anybody build only an attribute view?
Yeah. See, if you see, that's what I showed. The first example I showed you without using attribute views. What was my problem? I couldn't use the hierarchies. Yeah. And I could not
Yes.
even do the reusable. That is the only point. Otherwise, you're able to achieve everything what you could do without attributes, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to reuse those joins, the dimensions in multiple analytical views, I will go create attribute views and then leverage them into analytical views. And if I want to leverage hierarchy, because as I cannot create hierarchies in the analytical views, and we can create hierarchies in attribute views and reuse them into analytical view wherever this attribute view has been used. So I'll create an attribute view and deploy my hierarchies what I need, then leverage that attribute view into analytical view. So in these kind of scenarios, I'll create attribute views and then I'll create analytical view into it, or straight away. So I'm not forcing you that you have to create attribute view and create analytical view, or I'm not forcing you to create an analytical view directly. Depending on the scenario, I will go about doing it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So if you want to use if you want to create master data reports, should we create calculation views then? Because since attribute views cannot be used in reporting, and analytic views need some measures, particularly to create analytic views. So should we create calculation views for master data reports?
You want to do reporting on the master data, right? So
Yeah.
So a good question is saying, when I'm creating attribute view, I cannot use measures and we cannot do reporting on it directly. Let's say I wanted to build some master data view which I would like to do reporting on. Let's say something like customer detail. Yeah? Then what will I do? See, can I do something like this? I'll create an analytical view. ZAN BP reporting. I'll take this SAP.HANA demo and then take this to create a join. I get this as a data foundation. Okay. I'll just create some calculate column counter and say that is an integer. That is going to be a measure. And say one something dummy, and then you get this out. Measures cannot be identified. I'll set this as the measure. This is all as attribute. It is expecting a table in central table, not unique attribute. Get this now. Can I use this view for doing reporting on customer master, business partner master database? So this will be the workaround I use it. Yeah. Even though it is master data, I use some dummy key figure. Because even in BW, when you do reporting on master, you get as record counter, right? As a dummy key. You can use this way and do reporting on master database. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other doubts?
Sir, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
In attribute view, we have some attributes. So if you want to use some other attributes, can you create as a reference of this attribute and use it for other purpose? See, in attribute view, we have 4 attributes. So same attributes we need to use, some other 2 attributes we need to use some other reporting purpose. So in that case, if we are creating new attribute with reference of old attribute, can you use that concept?
So there's 2 questions in your, there are 2 points. So I create an attribute ADTR1 with 5 fields, okay, 5 attributes, okay.
Yeah.
I'm creating an analytical view. Let's say I'm creating analytical view 1 and I'm creating analytical view 2. Yeah. Now, can I use this attribute view in both of these? Yes.
Yeah, you can use.
Solved, right? So once attribute view is created, the same attribute view can be used n number of times in the see, very important. So don't get confused here. Look at this. Once attribute view is created, I can use this attribute view in n number of analytical views. Okay. But I cannot use the same attribute view twice in an analytical view.
Okay.
Getting this? Very, very important. Once attribute view is I'll show you the scenario now. Once the attribute view is created, I can use this in n number of analytical views. But I cannot use the same attribute view multiple times in an analytical view. ఒక్కసారి attribute view క్రియేట్ అయితే ఎన్ని అనలిటికల్ వ్యూలోనే వాడొచ్చు, కానీ అదే attribute view ని 2-3 ఒకే అనలిటికల్ వ్యూలో చాలా సార్లు వాడలేము, ఒకేసారి వాడొచ్చు.
No. So here there is no, okay. Here there is no concept of like in BW we are using navigation attribute, right? So there is no concept of like.
But why do you need because see, I'm able to drill down on any attribute. Okay. I can have drill down on any attribute I want. So why there's no concept of navigation attribute? Because we only have attribute or measure, that's all. No types.
Okay.
This is important. Once attribute view is created, we can use in n number of analytical views. But I cannot use the same attribute view multiple times in analytical views. Very, very, very important. As LIS, see now I'll show you once. Yeah, I'll show you the scenario. It's very, very important because I take this. Let me paste. Now look at this one. What I'm trying to do now is, let me just bring in, first I want to bring in supplier also into this. So let me bring in the product table. So that I create a join from item, product item to this product. And then select the supplier ID from here so that I get the key. Now my data foundation gets the supplier ID. See, I've got partner and supplier, 2 things. From partner, I've connected to my partner master data. And from even for supplier, I need to get the details. Supplier is also nothing but my partner itself, right? So I would expect the supplier ID to be joined to this partner ID itself, like this. Getting this? So I've got 2 columns in the data foundation joining to the same master data here. Yeah? This is what I want. Because partner ID is also a supplier, is a partner. Supplier ID is also my partner only. Getting this? So in this case, I have a requirement of using the same attribute view multiple times in an analytical view, right? Okay. In that case, what we will do is, you can either create a copy or there's one more option. Look at this. I'll say right click, view, Z80 supplier derived. So there's something in an attribute view, there's some subtype called derived. Okay. When I say derived, instead of, see, there's an option called copy from. When I say copy from, you create one more attribute which is copy of it, and after creating copy, you can change those properties. But if you want exactly the same, I'll say derived, and derived from Z80BP. So it copies all the properties of BP to this X. So look at the warning it says. The label is the only editable field in derived dimension. So this is a derived one. You cannot edit any of the properties. It will be same, but only the name is different. Okay, once that is done, I'll use this derived view. So when I want to use the same view multiple times in an analytical view, I use the derived concept and bring that here and join this supplier ID to this partner ID. Now all the columns which are coming from this, I would see, I'm getting it as supplier, right? I'm not, instead of getting confused, I'll rename this as supplier country. See this one, I can rename this as supplier country. Not allowing me. Should I change this? I could have changed that, but for me, this country is the supplier country, and the country from here would be my customer country. You getting this?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So you can use one attribute view into n number of analytical views, but when you want to use the same attribute view multiple times into analytical view, we use a derived concept, so that creates exact copy without any changes being allowed. Yeah. Or you can also create copy from and use it also. When you say derived, you will not be able to change any properties further. More like a reference and template in BW. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, boss?
Sir, somebody asked some question, but you explained with the counter, right? So I was not able to map it. That can you please repeat once?
The question was, they wanted to do reporting on. See, it is automatically taking the alias name with different naming, supplier derived. Yeah. So the question was, I said we cannot do reporting on attribute view, right? Then his question was, he wants to do reporting on the content of that attribute view. Then I said, whatever you're building that in attribute view, take those tables into analytical view, perform the same kind of join. But since analytical view needs some key figure, minimum one key figure, just build some dummy key figure there as calculate column and then use it. That's it. Yeah.
Sir, and one more question, sir. So in HANA, we are telling that denormalization of data will be maintained, so there is no need to concept of one-to-one relation. So if source having header data and item data and schedule line items, so can we dump 3 tables data into one table in HANA, or whatever source table is there, so we need to copy those data like that only?
Yeah, even if you see, if the source database is already normalized, we will not focus in denormalizing it again in the source, in the warehouse. Yeah. But as a data warehousing concept, if you want to aggregate the values, generally we go making it as denormalized only. Because if you want to achieve the results of the business, you would have to, in the warehouse, generally the database becomes denormalized only. Yeah.
So we can dump 3 tables data into in HANA one table, right, sir?
If you want, you can dump. Only thing is, you will see a lot of blanks, right?
Oh, okay.
Not a good design. Yeah.
Sir?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I was just asking a question. See, for regarding employee and manager, we have only one attribute view, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, we need to do reporting. I mean, we need to do reporting on same single attribute view, right? So for that, we need to do derived key fields, or I mean, derived
Yeah,
attributes,
I
or
understand.
right?
You're saying in the fact you have two columns. One is employee and manager, and for both I want to get the details of the employees, right?
Yeah.
In that case,
So for example,
Mhm.
how many employees are there under a single manager? I want that count.
What is it simple? You'll get if your data is employee, yeah. If you got a column called manager, you'll just put as counter. Then you'll get this right. You'll
Oh,
have one for everything.
no, no, no. For
Okay.
single manager, how many employees are there under single manager? Count of an employee.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you. If this is there, it is say E1 and E2. Let's see, M1 is a manager here and M1 here. Here it is M2. Here it is M2. Then here it is M2. Let's see, here is M2. So when you basically do a drill down on this manager, you'll get for this you get aggregated as 2 and here you get as 4.
Yeah, two. Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to derive again an employee, and we need to rename it as manager, right?
See, if your source has got data like this saying employee as a separate column, manager as a separate column, then you can straight away get this.
No.
There's nothing to be done. But say you have information. Yeah, tell me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In a single table, we have employee and easy manager or not.
But how do we know he's a manager of whether you're saying like this? What I understand is you will have a single column as employees, which will have all this. Yeah. And now you are telling me if anything which is starting with E is just an employee and anything starting with M is a manager, right?
Yes. Oh no. Okay. 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 Got it. How to refer whether the particular employee belongs to which manager?
Yeah. You don't have the link, right? There should be something, some link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Even I understand your requirement. You're looking at self join.
Exactly.
And
Within a table. Join within the table.
in that case, what is it in the data foundation? I can use the same table multiple times with the alias concept and join them. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's all.
Acha.
Self join is like joining the same table to the same table. In the data
Yes.
foundation, use the same table twice, one with normal table, one with
Mm-hmm.
alias name, and then join them. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, in BW we can see the data flow, right? Like that in HANA. So can you see the data flow like
Data flow in the sense, what all came?
data flow means yeah. Initially we created an attribute view on top of attribute view, analytical view, on this analytical view to
Data flow
calculation of
diagrams, you mean?
yeah, yes.
You can't see a data flow like that, but two ways you can do. One is if you go to help, please mute yourself, boss. There's something called auto documentation. When I select this, you want to say, let's say, you want to document for this view, which is using that attribute views. Yeah, and say some target location. Somebody, okay. So one way of doing this is this way, desktop D. this is where you can have the documentation created saying what was the views and what are the columns which is being referred and what this will tell me what attribute views are being used in this, what table is left table, what star join, in input pair, does it have any hierarchies, cross, it gets you complete documentation of that view. Yeah. One way of saying. If you really want to see, there might be another question. I can understand this another way. So you want to see how this view is getting executed. Yeah. So what you can do in this case is you can just write a normal select on how you're trying to execute on this. Say select, say from this, will it work or not? You have to go find the column view for this and then use it. Go to Sysbic. Yours is AN sales rate. AN, I'll say ZAN underscore sales underscore using underscore ADT underscore 9 cubics. This is the overlap. Yeah. Since I'm using overlap, I need specify aggregation function. Yes. If I open this, I get to see the measures. You got grass somewhat. Okay. So select. I'll say company name, comma sum of grass amount. Group by say company name. So this is my query. Okay. So now you want to see the data flow, what it is using. So you can just select this. You can right click on this and say visualize plan. That will take me to different perspective, plan visualization, and tells me what all is being done here. Yeah. See now it says column search and the project. Now if you expand this column search, it tells me all this, saying it is actually reading the data from analytical view. The 6,000 records coming out, and all those have been aggregated because of sum of and group by as 46 rows, and 46 rows has been projected. If you want to see the runtime statistics, you can select this, right click and say execute with display results here. Now you get to see the executed plan completely. I don't see this results. I can select, expand this, each of this. You can see complete operation. Expand analytical search. So there are BW. You can see all this now. What it is doing, BW. Then there is a join. Then it's projecting 30. You can see about each operation. Now in the operation, when you see the operation name starting with BW, it means it is the overlap engine. When you see the operation starting with JE, it means JE join engine. When you say C, it is calculation engine. You can see the search, you can expand each of this in detail and see where it is taking a lot of time. It is taking search on the table with like predicate, what it is doing at each of this. This is the timing. Search on the table with like predicate again. Then there is a join operation performed with BW. Look at BW to overlap join 1, join 2, join 3, then preparing, then aggregating, then building the results. You can see the different, you can see this data flow, how it is being executed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I think now you should get feel of the modeling, how we are using our attribute view, analytical view. Clear? First. It makes sense, right? When we start learning attribute view, it makes sense how are we going to use attribute view, right? Everyone, yeah. Hello?
Here, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
let's get in. Now let's start the modeling one by one with the attribute view, article view also. Okay. Now we said when you're dealing with HANA modeling, we'll mainly deal with two things, right? One is attributes and measures, right? As part of HANA modeling, we mainly classify any of the column either as an attribute or a measure. Attribute will be all your subjects and the descriptive information, and all your quantitative fields which can be quantified, which can be measured, is what we refer to as measures. Then again, within the attributes, we'll classify them into three types of attributes: simple attributes, calculated attributes, local attributes. Okay, when I say simple attribute, this is the attribute which is derived from the column of a table. For example, you wanted to get the country of a customer. So from the customer table, let's say you pick the column saying country and refer that as an attribute as country. So that is a simple attribute. So whenever I have an attribute which is referred directly from the column of a table, we call that a simple attribute. Yeah. Then there is something called calculated attribute. Let's say um, this attribute is not derived from the table of column of a table straight away. We derive it based on some calculation performed on the columns of the table. For example, I have a customer table which has got first name and last name. I need to combine both these two and then project the attribute as a customer name. So that is called as calculated attribute, derived column. So when you have an attribute which is going to be derived based on other, by performing some calculation on the columns of a table, we call that as calculated attribute. The next is local attribute. When I say local attribute, say now once I create an attribute view, can I use this attribute view into any number of analytical views? Yes. Let's say I have an attribute view, say
Sir?
yeah.
So calculate attributes means if you want to combine last name and first name, is that calculated attribute?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. No?
Okay.
Yeah. Any derived. Say for example, I have a year like say 2009, but I actually want to project that as FY financial year hyphen 2009. So in that case, I build up some logic to project this attribute say financial year. So I'll say congregate FY hyphen with the year column, then that will be you perform some calculation and derive the attribute that is called calculate attribute. Yeah. So local attribute,
Okay.
yeah, local attribute. Let's say now I have an attribute view, and let's say I have in the attribute view. Let's say I have an attribute called country. Okay. So what I want is now this attribute view can be used in n number of analytical views, right? Now, but what I want within this attribute view, I want an attribute where the definition of it is different with each of this analytical view. Then I can make that as local. For example, I have an attribute view, let's say business partner. Let's say for the business partner, and I have something like say countries. Now I'm using this attribute view in two analytical views, analytical view 1 and analytical view 2. In analytical view 1, I want this to be referred as a different attribute with different logic. In attribute analytical view 2, I want this to be referred with a different logic. In that case, I can go with what? Local attributes. Local attribute means you'll remove the reference and change the logic of it, then that called as local attribute. Okay. Then within the measures, again we'll have different type of measures. Simple measure is nothing but it's a measure derived directly from the column of a table. It's simple measure. Again, calculate measures, like you don't have this measure directly in the table, you derive it based on the calculations on other measures, other columns, then you call that as calculated measure. Like same like your CKF, calculate keyword in BW. Let's say you got price and quantity. You want to multiply those and then derive amount. Then you say calculate measure. Then we have a concept called restricted measure. When it's a restricted, this is more like an RKF. Let's say when you want to restrict the value of a measure based on the attribute value, then we say that as restricted measure. Same like your RKF. Let's say I have amount, but I would like let's say I have amount and there's one more column say year. Or let's say delivery status. So I just want a KPIs which is delivered amount or delivered value. So it's like the logic is amount where my delivery status is completed. So here I'm trying to have a measure which has been where the value of it is restricted based on the value of attribute bus. That's what I would refer that as restricted measure. Same like your RKF. Yeah. Then then we have something a counter. It's like normal key figure. Generally, if you remember, we have property called exception aggregation in BW. Most of the measures would have the aggregation as sum, but apart from this, sometimes you might want different things like say count, min, max, all this. So when you want to have a measure with aggregation function as count distinct, then you would go with the measure type as count suppose. When you want to have a measure with aggregation function as count distinct, then you would go with the measure type as counter suppose. Yeah. Say for example, I have order number. I just want to get the count of orders performed by a customer. So when you want to get this count, then you go with what? You create a measure of type counter suppose. Now let's say attribute views. Now it is more or less like representing your, see, every view, whether it is attribute view, article view, unit and currency will come as an attribute itself, right? Is asking a list of currencies or list of units will use an attribute. Right? Yeah. Next is your attribute view. Now when you say attribute view, it is more or less like your master data in BW or dimension in BW, but these views are virtual bus. They don't store any data physically in it. Okay. Good. So when you say attribute view, let's say you're trying to massage or you're trying to combine multiple tables or join them or whatever it is you're trying to do, and project certain columns through which you can understand the information about a stronger entity or understand the information about the dimension, then that is referred as attribute views. So you're trying to project set of columns by massaging all those tables through which you can understand the information about an entity or a stronger entity. We call that as attribute views. The next point here is once attribute view is created, it can be used in, we can use it to join in analytical view. Now, can I use one attribute view into n number of analytical views? Yes. And attribute view will be used as a dimension in your analytical view bus. Now, can we create hierarchies in attribute views bus? Yes. We can create either level based hierarchies or child based hierarchies bus. So we can create hierarchies in attribute views, and these hierarchy types could be either level based or parent child based hierarchies. The next point to be noted, see, we have three types of HANA modeling views. One is attribute view, analytical view, and calculation view. Okay? Now within attribute view, again we have three subtypes of views. One is standard, time, and derived. Within the attribute view, we'll have three types of attribute views. One is standard, time, and derived views. I'll come to that what it is. Very, very important. When you say standard, what are the attribute view we've been creating till date was only an standard one. Standard is straightforward. You basically use the tables and join those tables and project the columns what you want. That is a standard one. Next is time-based attribute view. Normally it is more like a when you say time-based attribute view, you would like to define very, very important. You would like to define an attribute view by using which can project some time factor data for you, like say date, month, year, quarter, all those. So when you want to build a view which can project time factor data for you, we call that as time-based attribute view. First, let's see how do we do this, then it will be easy for you to understand. See here, very, very important. Now say right click, one second, disconnect it. See here, I'm just trying to create a time base now. It's a new ZAT underscore time. So here you see subtypes of attribute: standard, time, or derived. I'll say time. Look at this. Very, very important. Now it'll ask me, you would like to create a time. See, when you have an attribute view which is projecting time factor data for you, then we go with time-based attribute view. Now when you say time, it'll have two things. One is Gregorian and finance fiscal goes. When you say Gregorian, it is like calendar year, and when you say fiscal, it's a financial year goes. Okay. This is disconnected. I'm just waiting for it. Yeah. Now if you see calendar, you'll have Gregorian and fiscal. Gregorian is nothing but calendar year. Fiscal is about financial year. Now I'll say calendar year data I want. What is granularity bus? Year, month, week, date, what is? Now when I say a date, it starts showing you week, it starts showing you view, which gives you information about each day level. Say for a particular day, you would know year, month, quarter, week, all those. If I say hour, then for each hour, it actually gives you the details. This hour belongs to which day it is, which what is hour, what is the time, seconds, all those. So what is the detail level granularity you want? I say if I said date, it will be each record in the view will represent one date. So if I say month, month-wise granularity, or if you say year, for each year you'll have one record. That's how you can say. There's some internet problem. So I'll say Gregorian and I'll say granularity is date and auto create. It create it automatically. Look at this. When I say finish, it is automatically creating an attribute view by referring to some table. You look at this M underscore time underscore dimension from which schema? SysBI. Whenever I go with time based attribute view, by default it is taking this as it is referring to a table called M underscore time underscore dimension. From which schema was? From SysBA schema, and building, selecting the columns. See, you'll get date, year, month, quarter, week, everything. It is also built in the columns, and it is also built in hierarchy also for you. With year, quarter, month, week, day, everything is created automatically. So when I'm doing this, it is referring to this table, right? Now let me just activate. I'll come back once again. One more. If you say right click again, say new ZAT underscore time If I set this one as a time-based attribute view again, now this time I'll go with financial year. What is the it'll ask me which fiscal year variant I want. K4, I'm okay. Some auto create, whatever it is. Now look at this. What table is it using now? M underscore fiscal underscore calendar. It is automatically selecting the dates and everything is selected and just active. M underscore fiscal underscore calendar is a table which is used when you go with what? Time-based attribute view with fiscal year. Yeah. Now in both these cases, it is using some standard tables from SAP BI, right? Suppose if there is no, now whenever I create time-based attribute view, it is automatically using these standard tables like M underscore time underscore dimension if it is Gregorian. If it is fiscal, it is using a table called M underscore fiscal underscore calendar. So what the logic here is, before I start using this, should I take the responsibility of filling this table? Yes or no? This is standard table in SAP BI. Depending on the project requirement, I should take care about filling this table out, right? Now let's see, do we have any data? M underscore time underscore dimension. Let me go to the table, right click, filter. And I go to sys underscore BI. He'll have a tables called M underscore time underscore dimension. We have a table M underscore time underscore dimension and M underscore fiscal underscore calendar for fiscal year. Now when I see this table, I want to see if there's some data in it. There is some data, yeah. Let's say I want to drop this data out. Because if it is a new system, you will not have any data in this table, right? So if you try to see the content, there's no data. Now when there's no data in this table, when you have created this time-based attribute view, it's all defined on the table, M underscore time. Do you get any data here? No, right? Because the table is blank. So when you created a time-based attribute view based on Gregorian, it is automatically leveraging the table M underscore time underscore dimension. If you create it on Gregorian, fiscal year, then it automatically takes it as M underscore fiscal underscore calendar as a table. These two are the standard tables which are maintained in schema called SAP BI. So before I start create, so when I do this, will that be my responsibility to fill the table out, because there's a standard table which will be blank initially. I should take over filling this table based on the data what I want. So for this filling of the data into this table, we do a process called generating time data. Look at the help. Then get into what? Quick view. You see an option here. What is generate time data? Just click on this. Now you want to generate time data for Gregorian or fiscal was. If it's a Gregorian, so I want to fill in M underscore time underscore dimension. So you want to fill in data for which years? I'll say 2010, say to 2012. And what is granularity was? If I say granularity is day, for these 2 years from 10 to 12, for each record will represent a day, and say finish. It is done. If that is done, should you have see the data into this table now? So I start getting the data into this table, and see if the table contains data, then obviously my views should start, my time-based attribute view should start giving me data. Okay. But look at this next one. I also want to see this M underscore fiscal underscore calendar. There also data in this. I just want to drop this data for financial year data was. So there's no data in this table M underscore fiscal underscore calendar. So again, I'll have to get it generate time data. Focus on this. Now this time I'll say calendar type is fiscal. See, as soon as I say fiscal, it will ask me from which year. Let's say 2010 to 2012. But does ask me something like, say, variant. Do you understand what is fiscal year variant was? Fiscal year will tell you from which year to which year, from which month to which month, and variant will tell you the details of it, saying how many months, how many periods do we have in a financial year, and whether does it have any special periods or what. For example, if you look at the variant K1, it will be from Jan to December with one special period. K4, Jan to it says Jan financial year is from Jan to December with 4 special periods. If you say V3, it's like ours, like April to March is the financial year with 4 special periods. That's what, with 3 special periods. That's what it says. So you have to specify the variant before you generate time data for financial year. Now it is very important that look at this. I'm able to list out the variants here because of this schema. It says this is the schema. In this schema, it is showing me this variants. Ante, from where are these variants coming from? Ante, what was the schema we have been using? SAP ABAP 1. If you get in, you'll have a table called T009. You'll have T009 and T009B. T009 will tell you the list of variants K1, K2, K3, K4, V3, and T009B will tell you for each variant how many, what is the periods you have. Say for V3, for first period we have 31 days, and what is it now? Fourth period, what is it now? You see, it'll have information about every period in this. So when I go to generate my time data based on financial year, you must make sure you know the information about the variants. Now, can I say like this? When I want to create an attribute view based on fiscal year, I must make sure M underscore fiscal underscore calendar table should be filled in. But if I have to fill the table for M underscore fiscal underscore calendar by performing generate time data, before I generate time data, I need to know the information about the variants. So generally in SAP variant information is maintained in T009 or T009B. So before I generate time data, first of all, if I have ECC as my source, I need to replicate the table for T009 and T009B into HANA database. Then once those two tables are replicated, I will be able to generate my time data based on financial year and fill the table M underscore fiscal underscore calendar. And then when I create a time-based attribute view based on the fiscal year, it can leverage this table M underscore fiscal underscore calendar. So that's the concept here about time-based attribute views. Now that is what he says. Now look at this. For time-based attribute view, you should make sure you have imported T009 and T009B tables from the to create the time-based attribute views. And you can generate your auto time data based on generate time data, which will fill, if it is Gregorian, it fill the table M underscore time underscore dimension. If it is fiscal year, it fills a table called M underscore fiscal underscore calendar bus. So that will be a time-based attribute view. Next, we'll have something called derived bus. When I said derived, I told you once attribute is created, you can reuse it in a number of analytical views, but I cannot use the same analytical view multiple times in an analytical view bus. So in that case, what we do is, when you want to use one attribute view multiple times in an analytical view, you create a derived attribute view, and then leverage this views into analytical views. So it's like more like a reference object. So you have two options: copy from and derived. When I say copy from, it creates. Let's say I have attribute view A. I'm creating B, which is copy of A. So all the properties of A is copied to B, and you can still change it. But if I say create B, which is derived from A, then all the properties of A are copied to B, and you'll not be able to change any properties for B at all, except the description. That is derived. And we'll continue tomorrow. This is the introduction part, and then we'll see about navigation more into this. We'll continue tomorrow, boss. Okay, boss. Fine. Thank you. Tomorrow we'll meet up same time. Yeah.